Hi, welcome to continuing the conversation with Sadie. Today's guest is someone whose work sits right at the heart of what season two is exploring: practice, culture, system design, and the lived reality of how care actually functions. John Powell works at the intersection of social care, community health, and system architecture, with a focus on turning big ambitions like left shift and integrated working into something that works in real life, not just in strategy documents. As a founder of Unicare Devon and a co-director of My Care Bubble, John is helping to build a real-time coordination layer that connects care providers, GP practices, and hospitals. His work supports earlier intervention, smoother discharge, and better decision making across the whole system. The kind of practical, relational infrastructure that makes integrated care possible. John also leads the Devon Integrated Social Care Alliance, DISCA, bringing providers together to strengthen collective voice, share insight, and shape how health and care evolves locally and beyond. What I value about John's voice and why he's such a powerful guest for this season is that he doesn't just talk about strategy, he talks about the how we redesign the architecture of the system, how we connect the outside world to acute services, and how we create shared responsibility across organisations that were never originally designed to work as one. This episode is titled Ambition into Action: How we redesign the architecture of the system, because that's exactly what John does. He takes the big ideas we all talk about and he builds the conditions that make them real. John, I'm so glad you're here. Let's begin. Hi,
Well,
John.
well, when I sit here and I'm listening to you, I sort of wonder how we've got here. Really, it, when I think back to 2009 and I started Unicare, we started with no money. We had like 300 quid in the bank, and I just we were writing policies in our bedrooms. And you suddenly pinch yourself when you think about what you've just said, and it's crazy. So thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. I want to start with practice and culture. I really want to jump into behavior and the everyday actions of the people delivering it, because I think that's a really good place to start. And you say, I can't think how I got here, but I just want you to think about care as a practice. And what does that mean to you, John?
Well, I think care it's in you, isn't it?
Mm,
For me, people that I know that are good at care, it's
yeah.
almost like they've been born with this instinct. And it doesn't matter if you're a social care provider, a manager, or an NHS person, you've got this inherent want to do something right for somebody.
Yeah.
And that drives every decision you make. And yes, we can train people. And yes, we can say, here's an MVQ or here's a degree. But if you don't know how to practically use it, it becomes just something around your neck that you're very proud of, but you don't know how to sort of use
Yeah.
in the real world. Um, and I know some people that would say that, they left school and they've got no qualifications and
Mm.
they're not educated. However, conversely, they're some of the most compassionate, attentive, amazing carers I've ever met. Um, and that's what I like about social care. You don't have to do a million degrees to achieve some real incredible career moves.
Mm. Absolutely. Great answer. Thank you, John. I'm going to ask now. You work across multiple parts of the system. What cultural conditions do you believe are essential for good care to take root?
I think good care to take root, we really need to look to the past and to the future, really, because if we consider lots of things that have happened in the past, there's been lots of institutionalization, there's been lots of hard hitting stories in the press, and lots of things where today we would frown on. And I
Mm.
expect in 10 years' time, we'll look back to today and we'll frown. But I think the nice thing is it's always about a journey moving forward, isn't it? And what we do know,
Yeah.
is we hear a lot about the incredible. Well, if we consider what we hear integrated teams. We hear we're going to have integrated that. But in the real world, if we look at
Mm.
social care
Yeah.
and we look at
That's what we're here
health,
to do.
we are fundamentally different creatures.
Yeah.
Um, and we work in different ways. And I can't imagine a time, even with the work I'm doing, where we are going to see social care properly integrate with health. There are different systems, different ways of working, and would we really want that? Because what makes social care so brilliant is we are unique. Every company has its own way of working, its own standards, and its own ethos, and actually that's what makes care just get better and better and better.
Mm.
And if we just integrate, we're going to be following the big boss, the ivory tower, and actually, I don't believe they always know the right outcomes for people on the floor. I think
No.
they're very good at what they do. It doesn't mean they understand how frontline care is being delivered, and how people really have to interact to make sure that vulnerable are looked after in the way they need to be looked after and not the way we think they do.
So how would you explain the cultural conditions that they need to take root,
I,
to have a good grounding? Would you
Yeah,
say
I think the cultural conditions start with a really good manager and a really good oversight team. I think it's very easy for a staff team, especially when they're new, to wander. Not wander literally, but I mean wander into bad habits. And I think there's
Yeah.
something about making sure that it doesn't matter if you're a senior carer, manager, or director, you live by the same rules.
Yeah.
My staff team will come in here. They talk to me directly. They expect me to work at the same level they are. Doesn't
Mhm.
matter if I work in integrated teams or I work with a GP.
Right.
If I talk to a carer, I talk to
Mhm.
them where they are. Hi, carer. I've done your job. I understand where you are. That's a painful pinch point. Let's work through that with you.
Yeah.
Because that understanding creates that culture where they actually feel supported properly.
Supported, that's the word I was looking, yeah. So it's not integration, it's feeling like you've got that cushion if you need it. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you can literally just rock up and say, I don't know how to do this, and that's okay. But
Yeah.
that's one thing we have to also make sure carers understand. It's not hard to go and ask the question. I'd rather have someone say to me, "I don't understand,"
Yeah.
and support you with it. Absolutely.
So it's also not just carers, it's any level, isn't it? So if you're a parent to a disabled son or special
Yeah,
needs, or you are um, a nurse, palliative nurse, or a leader, you can also you should also feel like you could ask for help. Everybody needs a
I
cushion, don't they?
I think you're absolutely right, Sadie. One of the things though that it does frustrate me in what we do, and I think that's because we don't have set up proper feedback loops and proper
Mm,
places to go.
good
And
point.
that doesn't matter if you're a director of a company of
Mm,
domiciliary or a frontline carer or a family member. The routes to help are really sometimes quite sort of blurred.
yeah.
So and even when we start looking at mental health, I always worry about mental health, particularly because if we think about somebody in crisis, that
Mhm.
their options are to go to hospital or to the police station or have a breakdown at home. And none of those things feel like that's what you want to do when you're in a
Yeah.
crisis.
It's
We
not
don't
the
provide
soft
the right
cushion, is it?
environment. No, it's not
No.
soft cushions. No.
That's a
So
very
I think
good point.
it's really important that we start thinking about that pragmatically. And how do we create the environment for people
Mhm.
in crisis to
The
feel that
cultural
they can go and
conditions.
get wrapped around them, really?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point. You see the system from both the provider's perspective and the integration perspective. What distinguishes a healthy culture from a struggling one?
Oh, this is the golden question, Sandy, isn't it? Really, because we sit in a world that's been designed very full of hierarchy.
Mhm.
And that's absolutely fine. We have to have some sort of hierarchy to make things move. But conversely, if we then think about how we shift towards neighborhood teams, we start thinking about shared responsibility,
Yeah.
um, you have to start asking, are the pillars that we're working towards being, training, quality, all those sort of things, are they the right pillars? Because they're usually designed around somebody controlling that. But in a shared responsibility, it takes all
Mhm.
of you to decide what that looks like.
Yeah,
And that's the key here, isn't it? It's about shared responsibility, but shared ownership too. Does that make sense?
absolutely. Yeah, great answer. Because I think as well, when you look at the human side of care and the human need, humans don't like to be controlled. They like to feel part of something. That is a human
Yeah.
need, and that's when you have happy, um, autonomous staff who feel like they're contributing and they're making a difference. And that's what a lot of people get into social care for as well. That's a brilliant answer. I've got another one for you. We're still on the first section because there's just too
Okay.
much to get into. It's brilliant. How can leaders influence culture in a way that genuinely supports frontline practice, not just in theory, but in the day-to-day reality?
See, and that's an incredibly complex question,
Hmm.
really. Um, and the reason I say that is because if you unpick that slightly,
Yeah.
because your question is obviously how do leaders do that?
Hmm.
Define a leader, and that's my point, isn't it? So if you think about hierarchical leaders and you think about a DAS, and people like that,
Hmm.
they're incredible at their jobs, but they very rarely are seen leading people like me.
Hmm.
You know, they look after financial budgets, they look after all these things, but they are perceived as our leaders. So I think there's something also about how do we inspire them to lead and almost push it back up the tree a little bit, because actually it's not all around top down anymore, is it? I think if we want to really transform care, we have to go from the middle out. So we understand both sides of the fence. We understand where our carers sit and their
Yeah.
pressures and their pinch points and their worries, and we understand the financial problems that our perceived leaders struggle with. And
Yeah.
somewhere in the middle is the truth where we can find a fine line and say, actually, we now need to create a culture where we accept both sides of the fence. It's really important that we then sympathize with both sides, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, that is, yes, it does. And it's very pragmatic of you as well. So I've had some, experts like yourself on here saying you've got to go from the top to the bottom, others saying bottom to top. So I love the fact you've gone middle.
Go in the middle
That's a
because,
whole new
you know,
perspective. And we are on
well,
series
for,
two.
for
We are getting a
me,
little bit
I've
more
spent for the last 5 years, I spent so much of
deeper.
my time, pretty much full time, talking to people. And it doesn't, I
Mm.
talk to paramedics, I talk to discharge teams, I
Yeah.
talk to cry
Yeah. I
carers,
hear what you're
managers,
saying.
and I'm literally just saying to me, tell me your problems.
Yeah.
And that's where you find the little interesting bits where it overlaps.
Yeah. It's a really good point. I really like that. And I hope people listen when they listen to the podcast and hear our conversation today. I think there's going to be snippets in here that they take away, because it's a real conversation with real experts, who are doing it every day, day in, day out. What does a care culture look and feel like when it's working well for both staff and the people they support?
See, that for me is such a lovely question, really, because what it does for me, it takes me straight back for when I was a carer, and I was a carer for a
Yeah,
long, long time, and I
yeah.
worked in like the RD&E,
Oh,
um,
wow.
and what what sits in my heart is
Mm, this
what
is what
other
we
jobs
want.
can what other jobs can you do where if we think about a hospital environment or a home environment where
Hmm.
somebody is in their last breath, you might be the only person with them, you can hold their hand
Hmm.
and you can say it's okay. You know, that's
It's
a really privileged position to be in.
privileged was the word I
You
was
know,
thinking. Yeah, it
you
is.
are that person who gives them that comfort in that moment. And then that leads out, doesn't it, to becoming a whole ethos around care. When you go
Hmm.
to somebody's house, and we know that domiciliary care and lots of other care
Yeah.
places are
All,
task
we're
driven.
talking all care. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're very much task driven, but actually, are we failing our care workers by training them task driven, or should we retrain them to be holistic? So we know we have to get Mrs. Smith up. We know we have to give her a wash. We know we have to look after her medication. But while we're there,
Very
Are we
true.
looking around the house? Are we saying there's black mold in the wall and your breathing's terrible? Are we saying that there's a trip hazard, but actually alongside that, you might have something in your ear which is causing
Yeah.
problems? So can we get your hearing checked because you might fall? There's a whole plethora of things that we do train our staff for it, but we should really emphasize to them, be aware, be more aware. Don't just focus on a task because these people, sometimes you are their whole life. You're the only person that visits them.
Yeah, this is a great answer. I mean, I think I apply the holistic approach. Um, I think this is why a lot of my guests that I choose um, are or choose me if I'm lucky, like I am with you today,
Oh,
are very aligned with the way I approach things. And I think that's a brilliant answer. Um, and I think when you do look at the whole person, you don't actually just provide better care. You create a whole care culture that actually looks a lot calmer, a lot more professional, and a lot
yeah.
more content with everybody in it. And I think that's an absolute joy to witness. Um,
It is, it is.
it's
What we
amazing.
what we need though, we need the sector to catch up. And what I mean by that is, Sadie, you do frontline care. You said you're a
Yeah,
carer yourself.
yeah, yeah.
And if I said to you, and you're somebody who wants to be tapped in, which is why I'm on this show. So
Thank you.
if I said to you now, roll out 5 or 10 companies around you that can support you around Mrs. Smith's care. There are charities, gardeners, builders, all the
Hmm.
things that we might put around
That's right.
holistic.
Yeah.
It'd be really hard to do because we don't
And
really provide a directory of services that are there to help. We just have to hope that we're so tied in that we understand who they are. Um, how do you find it where you are? Do you find it easy to access services that can help you?
I do, and we do actually provide that, but I'm on the professional carers network, so I'm registered with them, and I work as a self-employed carer with my own micro business.
Yeah.
So we have a list of we call it a little black book of traders who we use for our clients. They're very good. They're not just from a checker trade or anything like that. They're
No.
people we've used
Well,
for our
I think you're
clients.
probably in your area then probably leading the way because
Mm,
in domiciliary and especially around Devon, it's really hard to
yeah.
understand what the VCSE
Oh,
have to
yeah.
support you with. You know, if
Devon is
I
really
wouldn't
busy.
I wouldn't know one day to the next what's on offer to the people I look after. And that's the
Yeah.
key here, isn't it?
Well,
Understanding the bigger picture.
yes, and we do have PCN private carers in Devon, and we also have a lead.
Yeah.
I'm lead for Gloucestershire. We have a lead for Devon, and we're just growing all the time.
Yeah.
Because people are coming to us and saying, "Look, we didn't know this was an option." Um, and we're fully registered. We are insured and everything, and we keep our training up to date because we have to using the PCN platform. Um, but
I
then
think
it's
I
a
think
very different
conversely though,
service.
I think conversely though, I mean, I know a mixture of good and bad in your side of it, the same as
Oh,
with domiciliary. And
yeah,
my
I
worry
agree.
how we shift the mindset for domiciliary and care homes,
Hmm.
for that side of the regulated sector to acknowledge the unregulated sector and say, actually, how do we work with you? How do we
Yeah,
ensure that we work as a team here? Because
yes,
as we go
that's right.
ahead, it's
Yeah,
really important we understand that every little sprocket, every little bolt plays part of this big machine.
that's right.
So let's
Yeah.
not marginalize somebody because the CQC won't regulate them. That's not your fault. And I think I want to really emphasize that because I get pulled into conversations every week around PAs and people not being
Hmm.
regulated and blah, blah, blah. But actually, I also know lots of PAs that say, if I could be regulated, I would. You know,
Yeah,
I'm really
they
passionate
would.
about having my training done. I'm really passionate about making sure that
Yeah.
I have a responsibility.
I'm not going to go down this because we're going to go off topic. So, but all I want to say, I'm not going to go down the CQC regulation route.
No, quite.
But what I would say is it with regards to a culture, it's about people understanding what they need to do to be a good carer. So we've looked at holistic, the look at the whole person and situation approach. And to be honest, whether you're working for the local authorities, a private firm, or you're a private carer, as long as you understand the core themes and you're doing it for the right reasons and you're the right person, you won't go wrong because you care about people and you want to help. And then because you've got that in place, you will then follow the rules and you will do things right because you want to be the best you can be for that person. And it doesn't
And
matter
I
which
think I
side of
think
the
I think
fence you're on. Um, you could be good or not so good. It's just about being the right person and having the right heart and doing it for the right reasons.
I think so, making sure your morals are of the standard that they need
Hmm.
to be, and I think, and that was my point really, is it can be, it doesn't matter if you're good, bad, or indifferent. If you're one of those people on the either side of the fence, you are acting that way.
Yeah.
We have, I've had some amazing carers, but we've also had some pretty poor carers who have worked for
Yes.
me
This
at
is the point. Yeah.
and
It
I
doesn't
sit there.
matter.
And it's funny because the other week actually we were going through our ex-employee lists, um, and I was going through, I was saying, "Oh, I really miss that person. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant." And every now and then you come across one name, and go, "Oh, hang on a minute." But do you know what? People are people, and no one's perfect. Me, you,
Hmm.
nobody. We all have our flaws. We just got to make sure we act responsibly around those, haven't we?
Yes. And make sure you're doing everything right your end so that they can feel protected and safe. So with moving on from that, I think the way you've explained the culture is brilliant. I really love that. And we're going to go into interactions and relationships and the micro moments that define the experience of care. In your view, what role do everyday interactions play in the overall quality of care?
The interactions are the overall quality of care. It's not about what they play, they are. So if we consider for a moment,
Mhm.
that care homes do an incredible job looking after their residents.
Yeah,
We also consider that a paramedic does an incredible job
they do.
looking after a person in crisis and
Yeah,
in transit.
yeah.
However, at the point of interaction,
Mm,
we sometimes let each other down. And that's not because we don't care. It's not because we frustrated or annoyed, although that will come in at some point.
mm,
It's a lack of understanding around what that other person needs and when they need it.
mhm.
So what we might do is might have a care home that will call an ambulance, and the ambulance will rock up, and they'll do the most incredible handover. They give them a really clear baseline of the person. They give them,
Yeah.
if they've had medication changes, they give them
Mhm.
all the things that they need to make a decision at the moment. And conversely, you get a care home who go, and this is a common thing. Hi,
Yeah.
ambulance crew. Yeah, there's Mrs. Smith. What can you tell me? I don't know. I've just got on shift. The other person's gone home. I don't really
Mm,
know.
yeah.
And then the
And
ambulance
that's
crew
not
say, well,
safe.
hang on a minute. I
Yeah.
can't make a decision based on nothing. So that
So
person there
true.
is just hanging in this balance of, do I get shifted to hospital or do I stay here? And actually, quite a lot of the time, they could probably
They
stay
s
there if they
Yeah, they
understood.
do because their heart's in it and they wanna help the person. Very true. You're building systems that connect organizations. How can those systems also support carers to build meaningful, human-centered relationships with the people they support?
See, that's a tricky one, isn't it? Because if we define systems, systems sit all through different areas.
They
So
do.
where I'm sitting very much in the middle of health, social care, and
Yeah.
GP. Okay. But what it facilitates you to do is by moving data, conversations very, very quickly and pulling people into one record very, very quickly. What we do know is if we can make faster, more educated decisions about someone, their care is better. So if tomorrow, Sadie, you were working in a system that we've been looking at and designing, you would be able to say to me very quickly, this is Mrs. Smith's profile, and I can go, actually, GP, come and have a look. The hospital, come and have a look. And we're all in the same conversation, and we can make
Yeah.
that decision there and then. What do we do? Do we pull them
pull them
in
in
to
or
hospital?
it's
Do we leave
we
them at
leave them at
home?
home.
Do we
We
send a
send a
community team
community
to them? What
Yeah.
does that community need to have? And what that enables us
able
to do is start looking at step
guess
up teams. You
Yeah.
know, we
I
always hear
always
about
hear
step down. Step
downs.
down, there is a
Makes
step
it
down place to step down, get it? But actually, when we think
this is
about a person, if you've got a 90-year-old
Yeah.
man or female, and the reality is they're not going to be operated on. You know, they're
That's right.
frail. They're living their final days in comfort.
Yeah.
Let's get them home and step up the care at home.
Bring them to
But to
me.
do that, you have to
I
move
love
really
the elderly.
quickly.
I love them.
Yeah. And if you move really quickly, you can pull in the right people. You know, they might need oxygen. Okay, who can do that for me? They might
Mhm.
need this. Who can do that for me? And if you can't move quickly and talk as a team,
Yeah.
then you can't deliver the care properly. And it's not about having MDTs. It's just about having the right people that you can pull in very quickly.
Yeah. I hear you. No, that's good, and it's everybody working together.
Yeah, and it shifts then, doesn't it? It shifts to a shared responsibility because
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's not about John Powell at a care home looking after this person. It's actually I've got a nurse, I've got a GP, I've got everyone in the same environment commenting very quickly. I've got an overall picture. Now we can shift and make sure they're okay.
That's it. So it's teamwork. Teamwork makes the
Teamwork
dream work.
and yeah, and share it. It's sharing the responsibility. I mean, I think that's the big takeaway from today is how we shift to shared responsibility
Mhm.
and not just do handoffs because people are people. They should be just handed off because you can't do it.
Mm. Yeah,
Do you know what I
good
mean?
point. Yeah, I do. I do actually. I love that because we talk a lot about in series one emotional intelligence and empathy, and that's just been included in the whole relationships, uh,
Yeah.
teamwork, team building. Yeah, really important point. What gets in the way of good interaction, and how can leaders or system designers remove those barriers?
Information of governance,
Mm,
policies, procedures, antiquated structures.
yes, you're
Um,
talking my language now.
yeah, I think the trouble is you can go to any trust, any ICB, any council with a million good ideas, and they're so fixed in what they perceive as the right way, nothing
Mm.
will get started. And then conversely, a few years later, say, we've got no money, we really can't do it the way we are. And you'll say, well, we could have changed this 3 or 4 years
You
ago, but you
three or
wouldn't
four,
play.
yeah, the
You would
prevention,
play.
yeah,
And
the
I think for me,
innovation.
yeah, but there's
Too
also
true.
there's lots of councils and lots of ICBs and people who don't have the
Mm,
right structure in place to look at innovation. So, Sadie,
you're
if we
right.
went and knocked on all these people's doors and said, "I've got 50 great bits of innovation here,"
Yeah,
and actually you could seed it for like 50 grand, but you'll get the money back in 10 weeks and you're going to be much better off. They go, "Well, that sounds really interesting, but we don't know what to do with it now. We've got no pipeline for innovation. We've got no budget to try it. So we just struggle on for a minute, you
you
know."
are right.
And that
Yeah,
for me is the clincher.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Good point. Here we go. One of my favorite questions. How do you see emotional intelligence showing up in a high quality, so your level here, care environments?
I think emotional intelligence is not something you can train. That's the trouble, isn't it? You know, emotional intelligence is lived experience,
Yeah,
how you were brought up from
absolutely.
the
I'm
moment
glad
you
you
were
said
born
that.
all through your life, you know, because if you've been completely mollycoddled all your life, you're probably not going to have great emotional intelligence. You're just going to have been
I think it's
handed it on
just
a
done.
plate, and that's okay. That's okay to have
Yeah,
that
yeah.
lifestyle. But I think we learn emotional intelligence by failing ourselves.
Mhm.
We look at things that have hurt us and we understand how that feels. So if someone sat with us crying about, I don't know, if really someone, somebody split up with their boyfriend or girlfriend, they're sat there crying, you know how that feels inside you.
Yeah,
So you can sympathize with them. You can't always fix it, but you
Fantastic.
can
You haven't
understand
had
how they're
that
feeling.
thing.
So it's
It's
always for
always
me
me around
around just taking a
taking my time,
moment, taking
taking
a
a
second
second
of
of
your
your
time when you're
lesson
talking to someone and saying,
me.
let me sit in their seat for a minute. How are they feeling about this? What is it
Use a
that's
trick.
triggering this? Because quite often we will hear people saying that person with dementia, they're always angry. They're always annoyed with me. They're always shouting at me. But are they shouting at you, or are they annoyed and frustrated that they can't stand up anymore and they just want to be able to do something?
Excellent. Yeah.
So,
Excellent.
so
Yeah.
it's around understanding people, isn't it? And taking a
Yeah.
second to think it through and not be personalized. Actually, they're voicing their attack towards me, but it's not about me. Just step back a minute and think about why. And you might just turn around and say, actually, do you know what? Let me help you out quickly. Let's walk in the kitchen. You get your own cup of tea. And all of a
Mm.
sudden they're going, oh, okay, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a wonderful answer. I love that. Oh, that's really good. I love that. Um, what are the small, often overlooked behaviours that make the biggest difference?
In what context? In from a frontline carer point of view, or
It's just it's it's just from the point of view that, say if you were looking down at a care home and it was full
yeah,
of, I'll give you an example. Say it was full of residents with dementia. What sort of overlooked behaviours would you say would make the biggest difference in that sort of setting?
I think for me there's something about acknowledging the middle management of a setting,
Mhm.
really, if that makes sense, because
Mm.
they're often the people that are invisible that make the biggest difference.
Mhm.
So you have a director who has a vision and he has some money to throw in, and he'll say, "Come on, guys, let's do it. We're gonna get registered, and
We're gonna do it now.
we're
All
gonna
now.
buy this new system. We're gonna implement this, implement that."
Yeah.
But then you have carers and the senior carers who get on and do a fantastic job, and they really aspire to make sure every element of this person's care is
Mm.
done. They're in the middle. You have this unique set of skills. And these people have to interact with a district nurse, they have to interact with a GP, they have to
Mm.
also sympathise with the carers about their pay, but they also have to make sure that they're working hard enough to do the right job.
Yeah.
And this is the bit where I think people don't realise. I mean, quite often we'll have carers come into my office and they'll sit on my office team
Yeah.
and I say, "Oh, I didn't know it was so busy in here. I didn't know that you spent all day on the phone talking to social workers, talking to this person, talking to that person, and you're ordering gloves and you're trying to sort out a computer system that doesn't work." I think, you know, for me, the little skills and little bits that are overlooked are around this central team that hold it all together. They're like a glue because they have to respond to safeguarding, they have to respond to complaints, they have to understand what complaints mean, they have to then fix that if there is an issue, and
Yeah.
they also have to wrap a big blanket around all their care team to make sure they feel valued and they feel responsible. They can come in and have a chat with them. So for me, it's all those little bits around the middle, and it's really hard to define one because there's so many.
I would say communication.
I think well, I think that is part. I mean, I guess that's where I've just sort of said, isn't it? You know, you're
Yeah.
talking to GPs, you're
Yeah.
talking to this, you're talking to that, and I think communication. You've nailed it in one word, really. But
Mm.
I think that's also conversely across the whole sector, isn't it? You know, one of the things that we're doing with my care board is around sharing communication really quickly because actually what we do know is coming out of hospital, somebody might phone a care home, they can't get hold of their phone back, they keep missing each other, and that's 3 days wasted.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I've personally found is that since I've had my own business for 4+ years now, that my communication has got better. My use of words to express what I need and want from somebody else has got a lot better and more varied. And therefore, things move quicker when you start using the right terminology, you understand what they're looking for, and that takes time. So when I say communication, it's not as easy as it sounds because you have to learn to be diplomatic, you have to learn to um, say things in a way that's going to get a response.
It's
And to
going back to
me,
emotional intelligence, Sadie, isn't it?
yeah, this
You,
is
you're
why
emotional intelligent. Yeah.
yeah, this is why I keep going back to it because I don't think you do. You're here as an expert, but I don't think everybody understands how important it is, especially in
No.
leadership. And it's
But I think
something
you
that
have to
is
look both
developed.
ways, though. I think you have to look both ways as well, because
Yeah.
some of
Oh,
the
of
times, what
course. Yeah.
I think what's been really interesting in my journey over the last few years is quite often people perceive me as NHS. and
Yeah.
I walk in, I have a lot of conversations, and I've got my NHS lanyard, so I have got one,
Yeah.
and, they receive me as an NHS, so they treat me accordingly. Then if
Right.
I walk in and I haven't got my NHS lanyard on, and they think I'm John from Unicare, they treat me differently again until I start talking. And I think there's something about understanding both sides of the fence, but actually you shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to
Yeah.
understand the pressures that my colleagues in NHS live with for them to talk to me in a certain way. And my carers shouldn't have to walk into A&E and be treated differently by a nurse because they're a carer, not a nurse.
That's
So
it. Yeah. Well
it's
said.
it's that emotional intelligence, actually understanding that we are just here trying to do a good job looking after this person. That's it.
Brilliant. That leads us perfectly into the next section. Section 3, leadership, system design, and the craft of care. You still with us, John?
I'm
I know
still
you're a
with you.
busy man.
I'm still with you. Let's keep going.
Great, great answers. And yeah, I'm just glad you're here to be able to give us this information. It's great. What does good leadership look like in the context of adult social care and the integrated systems?
Flexibility, understanding,
You
nothing
got it.
more. But that's nothing more really, because actually, if you're too rigid, it'll break.
Mm.
No one will play. If you're not understanding, no one will play. If we start looking ahead at neighbourhood teams, which is my passion at the moment, because it's bringing it home. I think unless we really take time to talk to each other and understand the frustrations and what the why, we can't
Mm.
do the how. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And what we quite often see is we're going to local care partnership meetings, LCPs, we're going to big board meetings, and quite often, and it's not about the people, because the people that are in there are incredible,
Mhm.
intelligent people,
Mhm.
but they're so structured they can't bend. And that's not because they don't want to, because the governance is too strict. It doesn't allow them to work
Yeah,
alongside
you're
people like
right.
you and me in a
You
real
are
open
absolutely right.
way where we can say, if we leverage this for you, it will cost it money, fair pay for a fair day's work, please. But actually, that will mean you can do this, which is going to save you 10 times what you're going to pay me.
Yeah, brilliant answer. I love that, John. Thank you. Yeah,
You're welcome.
brilliant. Where do you see the biggest gaps between leadership intention and frontline experience? Now, this is a big one for me, in my experience.
So say that one more time. So I want to really listen to the words.
Yeah, no problem. Where do you see the biggest gaps between
Yep.
leadership intention and frontline experience?
Pure understanding. Pure understanding about the real world. I think we sit in a really funny place, don't we? Because we have the government
Mm-hmm.
going down to Department of Health and Social Care, coming down to ICBs, coming down to trusts, coming down to local authority. You must do this. You've got to make this balance work for the finances. You've got to blah, blah, blah. And it's incredible pressure for those people.
Yeah.
Um, and then we sit down and we start writing really good, really well written aspirational strategies. Endless strategies. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how many strategies I've had to write. The 5-year forward plan, the education and learn education 5-year plan, this, and all of those then sit on this lovely, incredible shelf full of all these blueprints. And the
Right.
blueprints are sat there and are getting more and more dust and more and more dust. And the reason they're collecting dust because nobody has gone down far enough to go to the carers. How's that going to affect you?
Yeah. Great answer.
And then that's it.
That's why you're here. That's what we needed to know. Is it working? No.
No,
Is it
because
a waste of
actually,
time? Yeah. Is it a waste of money?
well,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's ever a waste of time because some of these blueprints are incredible, but what they
Yeah.
lack is the how.
Yeah.
Lots of them are aspirational wish lists, which is what we all want. We all want this perfect world. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes what we find is they want to make these strategies so perfect, remove all the risks because they're so risk averse, they never get
Mm.
started. So for me, it's something about just get started, guys.
Yeah.
Accept you're going to fail,
Yeah.
pick yourselves up, learn from it, do it
You're
again.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah. Absolutely. Brilliant. Here we go, John. This is for you, especially for you. You work on the architecture of the system. How can leaders stay connected to the reality of practice, not just the strategy?
They've got to accept that more voices doesn't always mean it's right.
Hmm.
Sometimes you need the right voices to ensure it's right, if that makes sense. So we can sit
Yes.
in a room with 50 people and lots of them will sit there nodding and shaking their heads. And there's a real risk, isn't there? Of how do I explain it? People engaging but not doing. You know,
Hmm.
it's really easy to say, "This is a brilliant idea. I'm going to come along. I'm going to sit in the room. I'm going to be part of it because I feel very special today, and I'm going to come and sit in this very important meeting."
Yeah.
And then they go away and they get on with the day job and they've forgotten about actually they had some things they had to do about it because they're too busy. And then you start asking yourself, well, also, what was in it for me? If I'm going to save the NHS loads of money
Yeah.
by sorting out discharge, where's my money about this? And unfortunately, it does come down to money. But I also think you have to get the right people in the room, people that can actually do and accept that, Sadie, your experience and being out on the road as a carer is as valuable as mine sitting in the middle, and your
Yeah.
voice is really important, and you're a doer.
Yeah.
So if I said to you tomorrow, Sadie, I want to roll out this pilot. Here's
Hmm.
a small amount of money. Go and fix something. Just fix it for me. You would go out and you would fix it, and you'd come back with
Yeah.
me. I failed here, I failed there, but this is what really worked. And that's the key here, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. I would like to think
Uh,
I'd come back and say, I've got £10 left. Let's go to the pub
and that's
and
the real win.
celebrate.
That's the real win. And I think, and that's what we have to understand, isn't it? That people that run their own businesses, be it micro, bigger,
Mm.
or large,
Yeah.
they look at every penny, look at every pound
Mm.
in a way because we can't afford to fail. No one's going to give us a big bucket of money if we don't make that service run efficiently.
Yeah.
So maybe listen to us. Because I
Mm.
tell you what, if I was a director and I owned
Yeah.
a hospital,
Oh my
I would
God.
be struck off
Yeah.
because they say, "John, you're 50 million pounds in deficit. How are you going to do? How are you going to do it tomorrow?" Um, so I think there's something around listening to those who can help, but also making sure that you make them feel valued. You do listen to them, either or you pay them.
Yeah.
And that's to me the crux. If I invited you to a meeting, Sadie, I would be asking one of two things: either we pay Sadie for her time, or we listen to her so she understands she's made a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm, I agree. There's no doubt I agree. But coming from the domiciliary carer's point of view, we are not paid enough. We are
No,
not,
no.
we are not valued. And I'm speaking for all carers. And as the system starts to get more strain on it and the population gets bigger and we live longer, more of it is coming on us. Um, so I would definitely advocate, say, if you've got a highly experienced professional carer, you pay them. You pay them properly.
I
And
think
that's the only way
it's an
you're going to get the best out of them.
interesting place, an interesting conversation, isn't it? Because I agree. I mean, I've got a whole load of carers that I'm responsible to make sure they get the best pay they can.
Uh,
And there's a certain irony, isn't there? If we think about local authorities and things, they will quite often give us a lower amount of money than what we even need to
yeah.
pay
Oh, the local
this.
authorities will. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's really tricky, isn't it? Because then on the other side of things, we've got doctors on strike who've had a 33% pay rise. And let's not get too far into that. So I don't want to divert off.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What I want to highlight is um, a carer um, works in domiciliary, lone working. You're responsible for you. You're responsible for how you act. You're responsible for the risks around you, and there's lots of risks. And you get paid as much money as a care company can pay you based on the income they can get from somewhere else. Okay, that. It's not enough, but it's what we can do. Then you've got a GP who goes into a career, not GP, a young doctor, and I don't want to be political, I really don't. Goes into a career knowing what they're going to get paid,
Yeah.
and there's lots of arguments about it. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be paid more, so that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
But they've had a lot of big pay rises. Again, it's a very
Yeah.
small one for social care. we've got less than 4% pay rise from our local
Yeah.
authority. They had 33% over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But for me, the fundamental difference is their ability to earn over the next 10 years. My carer's ability to earn, it's at a ceiling. It's got a ceiling. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
how brilliant you are, we can't get any more money for you. But
Yeah.
a doctor can earn more as they go up the scale until they're earning hundreds of thousands a year.
Mhm.
And that for me, it's the clincher.
Yeah,
Is,
it
you're out
is.
on
You're
strike when
right.
you can do all this, and
Yeah.
yet Sadie, who does a fantastic job, she's not on strike. She's not on strike. She's just looking after people,
Uh,
which is what we want.
but I all my boxes are ticked where I am now in my life. It's taken me 22 years to get here.
Yeah.
Um, but, I feel valued, I feel respected, I'm paid what I believe we should be paid. I
Yeah.
support other professional, you know, private carers. Um, I don't recommend anyone who isn't insured, qualified, experienced. I have a select few around me who help me, but they're self-employed, and it just works from my end. It works brilliantly. It's another option. It's not the option. We're all important in this game. We're all
I
needed.
think we need to get to a
But
space, don't we, where especially
mm,
domiciliary has a plethora of people like you around them that they can pull in, because we don't have enough staff quite often, but
no.
we have some really good care packages sometimes that
Mm,
could do with a personal assistant coming in and saying, "Can you help us with this?" Sign up to our books as you're self-employed. That's fine. We'll work out our contract with you, but
yeah,
when we call you, can you pop in and can you help us with this? Um, that
we
gives
can
you
do
more
quite a
work.
lot.
Yeah. Well, the trouble is, I sit with lots of people and I look after and I support lots of managers, and we have a mixture of people that are really pro and really anti PAs, and I don't ever understand why the anti.
I think in
So
any industry you can get good examples of PAs, um, and
you can
poor
get good at the
examples of
bad examples of
PAs.
domiciliary.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but, my experience has been excellent in my area, and
But look at
talking
you,
to
Sadie. You're incredible. Your approach is all holistic. It's not just rocking up and saying, "Oh, I'll get your shopping when I go home later." You're really looking after people.
but there are so many excellent carers, and don't forget I started out employed, so I've
I agree.
been led and inspired by other carers who are still in my
Yeah.
head now. We've all done it, haven't we? We've all met people that really inspire us.
Yeah.
Can you share an example of leadership or system design that truly elevate craft of care, which is kind of what we're talking about, but from your point of view?
Well, yeah, I mean, so some years back now, Devon County Council, give them a
Mm,
bit of a shout here.
yeah,
And a
I'm glad you did.
gentleman, yeah, a gentleman called Ian Hobbs, and a gentleman called Mark de Bernhardt Lane, and myself, and a lady called Ruth Wells, and others, not just us. We set a bit of a journey around love care, and essentially, it was neighbourhood working before
Mm,
neighbourhood work was a thing.
yeah,
And we started looking at Exmouth as a town,
yeah,
um, and we sort of called it our live lab,
yeah.
where we would get lots of care companies to start talking to us, starting to get them to think about how we work together, and it was incredible. I mean, if you go onto the Devon County Council YouTube site, we did a whole load of videos around it of carers
Mm,
talking about what it meant to them. It was incredible. But like all things, you get so far, and somebody somewhere in a miraculous brainwave says, "Oh, we need to pull that money back in and stop the funding," before they get to the good bit. And
right,
that's what
yeah.
happened. So we had all this
Oh,
mapping, we had
and it was
GPs talking
working.
to us, we had discharge teams starting to
Yeah.
talk to us, we had multiple dom care agencies, to the extent where the dom care agencies were actually leveraging their contacts in Exmouth to get us free locations to have meetings.
Mm,
So it was everyone was coming together going, "Let's just do this, really exciting."
yeah, yeah.
And I think for me, there's something around creating the environment and the vision which is exciting and it's different, and
Mm,
getting people on the journey with you and saying, "Got a vision,
yeah,
it's not perfect. You need to help," and let them have some ownership over it.
yeah, I love
And that's
that.
what we did.
Yeah, that's brilliant, and, well done you, and that's why
Look it
you're
up.
the
So
architecture of systems.
go on to YouTube, and look for Devon County Council and look for Love Care.
Yeah,
I'll send them. I'll email it to
yeah,
you. They're
we'll
brilliant.
we'll put the link down below. and definitely share that. That's fantastic. Final section. Sorry, I've just enjoyed the conversation so much. We've run over a little bit, but it's
We have,
very
it's all right.
enjoyable. Um, we just want to go into the future of care practice, culture, and systems.
Yeah.
We always finish on this one because we just want to know where everything's going from your point of view. And when you look at the future of care, what cultural or structural shifts do you believe are most needed?
So if we think about today, and we think about all the pressures financially, we think about everything that's happening,
Mm,
um, we often will celebrate historical wins, won't we?
yeah,
So we will sit in a meeting, we'll say, last year we did brilliantly. We had all this learning education stuff, and we had
yeah.
all this, and we clap, 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 clap. And we don't often think forward. Or if we
Mhm,
do, it's only a little bit. Well, how can
mhm.
we sort of replicate that this year? And for
And for
me, there's
me, the
something
folk around
around, firstly, the
first of
government giving funding to the right people for 5 to 7 years.
Good
Let's give you
point.
funding over a long period so you can make a functional change. Give it a piece 1 year, I can change something, but it then will run out of money. But if you
Mhm,
want to shift the culture, you need 5 or 7 years worth of extended funding to go, this project's a big project and it's about moving the tanker left properly.
mhm.
That then leads me on to things like IHOs. Have you heard of IHO?
No,
Integrated
no.
Health Organisation. So if you start looking at the papers coming out around neighbourhood teams and
Right.
the agenda for change and things,
Mhm,
in there's a thing about IHOs. And an IHO is a really fascinating proposition. Because if you think about a trust today, or if you're thinking around a local authority, you think about a GP,
mm.
they all have their little budgets. And
it's
if you
really
think about Section 75 agreement, which is agreement between health and social care, where they share the funding,
Yep.
that's all great. Um, but it's still very much around command and control. With an IHO, it means a great big 50,000 people area can be looked after by essentially a team.
Mhm.
Although it might be a trust or somebody that oversees it, it creates a shared environment where it has shared responsibility and that decisions are made together. And it's really quite an exciting place to be. So for me, I think we will start seeing a little bit of drip feeding towards an IHO and how we start shifting to a shared responsibility. But that comes back to the conversation earlier around people engaging and not doing. It's very
Eh,
easy to go into a meeting and nod, but if you go away and do something about it, it's a very different thing. And that's where the
yeah,
shared
too
responsibility
true.
really kicks in, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. That's what I
and
was thinking when you were talking is how's that gonna be applied? Are people actually gonna do it?
that's the thing, isn't it? So it's
Mm,
about thinking 5 to 7 years ahead. If you had
mm,
extended funding for 5 to 7 years, you say, right, guys, we've got funding for 7 years.
mhm,
We've got to find a way, firstly, to communicate, trust each other,
mm,
because that's the big thing. Put down our guards around, a threat to each other, and find where we all fit, and then start working for the person who sat in the middle or falls through the gaps.
yeah,
So I think if we're pragmatic in our approach, we can achieve it, but it's going to take a lot of trust, a lot of building, and it's going to take the government to say, we acknowledge what you will then have to do. Here's the money for a long period to support you while you shift to get the benefits later.
yeah, yeah, it's looking ahead. Brilliant. Definitely, definitely well needed. And thank you for explaining what it is and not assuming I just knew. Because I've
No,
had that before, like,
I mean,
"No, I don't know everything."
it's a really new thing. I
Mm,
would have been surprised if you did know, actually, because I found it in a document inside a document inside a document, and then I went, "Oh, what's that?"
yeah.
So so, yeah.
Um, I just wanna know what gives you hope about the direction the sector is moving in?
You. People like
Thank you.
you. No, no, and
Thank
I
you, John.
mean that in the most
I
in
feel
it's
really
in
flattered.
no,
I don't see myself like that at all.
what I think is, when I first started care,
Mm.
as carers, we wouldn't say we goose. We would just get on and do our thing. Or if we
Or
did, we'd do it in a sort of, "Oh, I just need to complain" way, 'cause I don't know what else to do. And what I'm seeing is people saying, "I'm not very happy.
Mm.
but it's not just about my boss, it's about bigger things, so I need to find
Yeah.
out why.
Yeah.
To sort
Oh,
of try
thank
and
you.
work out why, and people are starting to talk to people like me and you talking today
Yeah.
and exploring, and it's something around going on a journey of exploration together, which
Mm.
really excites me,
Yeah.
where we can say, "Actually, we're not just sat in a corner anymore as little social care, we're really exploring. We understand your pressures. Doesn't mean we agree with them or your decisions, but we understand." And I think that's where it's exciting, isn't it? Because then you
Yeah.
can really dig into a bit of sympathy from me will go a long way with you, but you gotta meet me in the middle somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
It does. It does. Absolutely. And I think the one thing that always goes through my head, is there a better way? Quite often there is.
Always a better way. I mean, one of the things I love about innovation and architecture things is you've never finished.
Mm.
You've never finished. So the things I'm working on now, some would say are 3 or 5 years ahead of some of the thinking that other people are doing. But as fast as I do that, I'm already getting out of date with my thing going, "Oh, this is a new thing over here.
Yeah.
This is exciting," you know? Because when you horizon scan, there's incredible people in the world who have different ideas in different directions are
Mm.
just as inspirational, and you grab that and go, "Oh, that'll fit in here lovely."
Yeah.
And then that changes the whole dynamic, and that's what's
Yeah.
exciting about the
It
future.
is exciting. Yeah, you're right. How can we better support the workforce to develop the craft of care, not just the tasks of care?
You literally so there's, a lovely lady, in Devon called Cindy Wilcox. Get her on the podcast. She's lovely.
I'd love
So
to have her.
Cindy Yeah, Cindy is lovely. So Cindy, has lots and lots of experience, in different areas, but she's got this, she's written a book actually, around put a heart around it and around culture and love and care and things like that. And I think for me, that's the biggest thing, isn't it? You know, right at the beginning of this whole episode, where he was talking around, you can train, you can't teach
Yeah,
certain
that's right.
things. And
Yeah,
I think
I'm
for
bringing
me,
it back
it's
to that.
around going back to that first part of the
Mhm.
conversation is you need to find a way, or we need to find a way to drip feed, drip, 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 how you do holistic care and how you're
Mhm.
emotionally intelligent. And for those people who have had a sheltered lives, they might be brilliant at care, but you might have to drip feed emotional intelligence. And it doesn't mean you just sack them. It means you need to give them your time and give them some of
Time.
your time and some of your energy. Because
Mm.
so often in the past, I've known different directors go, thought they were so rude to that person. They were so harsh to that person. They never once sat down and dug into their history and spoke to them as human beings and said, "Do you know what? You're really good, but every now and then you're a little bit sharp. Let's look at this with you and understand your frustrations and understand why
Mhm.
and drip feed a different way to them." Because actually, people in care, I genuinely think that people come to work to do a good job.
Oh, they
They don't
do.
come to work to be rude or to be
Yeah.
snappy. They come to work because they want to do a good job. And if they're having a bad day, their husband might have just left them, or their
Yeah.
wife might have just left them. Unless
Mm.
you understand, you connect with your staff on that level,
Mm.
you're never going to be able to help them properly. So it's something about understanding them as people, understanding that their son isn't very well, understand their daughters, their dogs in the vets. But
Yeah.
actually, that can then pick them up and go, okay, I can deal with today, and I can look
Yeah.
after your client in the best way I can because you've helped me.
Yeah. That's a really, really good point. Really good point. I love that. What role do you see for innovation, not just technological, but cultural and relational?
They simultaneously work together.
Mm.
You have to. You can't.
You've
You
got
know,
to embrace it.
you have to. So when we think
Mm.
about Mike Hevel, we've got 43 wards on it. We've got over 100 care homes on it. That's thousands of staff. That is a culture shift. And you sit there and you'll sit down with somebody like you saying, you go, it's brilliant. And then they never use it.
Yeah.
And then they'll phone up a few weeks later saying, "I've had a really bad discharge." "Well, did you use the system?" "Well, no, I didn't because I forgot." "Okay, well,
Mm.
how are we supposed to help you then?" And let you know.
Yeah.
So it's around acknowledging that people are busy. People are setting structures that haven't changed for 40, 50 years.
Mhm.
And a whole new world there is coming in, dropping the whole new techniques in, whole new processes in, and this understanding across both boundaries has
Yeah.
to be brought in with
Yeah.
that. So you bring technology in, you need to bring a simultaneous culture shift in, and you have to
Yeah.
sit down and really work with the people saying, I know I've shown you, but do you actually understand?
Yeah.
And I don't mean to be
Mhm.
rude by that, because I've been sat in meetings, like I'm sure everyone has, even NHS people and senior leaders, where somebody will be talking about lots of acronyms, and you'll be sitting there going, Google, what does that mean? What does that mean? And Google will tell you one thing, and what they mean is something completely different. And then
Yeah.
you where
Yeah.
you are. So it's about not just listening, but understanding and
Very
saying,
true.
stand up,
Very
I don't
true.
understand, and I don't
Yeah.
understand the reason why. And then people will pick up and use innovation.
Yeah. Absolutely. And finally, promise, last question, because you've been so, so informative and brilliant. What do you hope leaders at every level carry forward into the next chapter of social care, John?
Compassion for each other. That's it. So if you've got compassion for each other, you can work together.
Yes.
If you can work together, you can make change. That's it.
Ambition into action.
Yeah, that's it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for bringing your clarity, your experience, and your systems level perspective into this conversation. What you've shared today speaks directly to the heart of season two, that care is not just a service, but a culture, not just a set of tasks, but a craft, and that the system around care either enables or constrains the quality of those everyday interactions. You've reminded all of us that integration isn't a slogan, it's a practice. It's built through relationships, shared responsibility, and the architecture that allows people to work together rather than around each other. And that good care doesn't happen by accident, it's designed, protected, and continually refined. To everyone listening, thank you for joining us. I hope this conversation invites you to reflect on your own practice, your own culture, and the interactions that shape the experience of care in your world. This has been Continuing the Conversation with Sadie. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other and keep
Uh,
reflecting, keep growing, and
yeah,
keep
yeah.
caring.
I am
Thank you.
mine.
Thank you very much.